Fight Fiend Forecast. I'm Joseph, the host, and I'm back for the full card predictions for UFC 299. It's going down in Miami, and favorites have lost the last 4 events. Chookagian O'Malley's going to look to snap that streak in a rematch fight against Vera, where he rolled his ankle in the first fight. So we're going to break that fight down, along with every other fight on this card. This card's stacked. I'm stoked. Once again, this is one of those cards I'm really excited for. And hopefully we can make that cash, because last week we only had 1 pick wrong. The last 2 events we only had 3 picks wrong. But you know what? I'm not going to lie. The main card was very hard for me to predict and forecast. And before we get going, let's just do a quick recap from last week. UFC Vegas 87 at the Apex. Now, like I said, I only had 1 pick wrong. I had 3 locks. All 3 of them hit. Christian Leroy Duncan, Steve Erceg, and Mohamed Mokaev. That plus 120 ticket for everybody was, and the dog of the week, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, in the main event. He looked damn good, didn't he? I mean, it was my most confident dog of the week in a while. I was willing to do a pant spear, and he looked phenomenal, honestly. He stopped all the takedowns. He looked good on the feet, making the eye close on Shamil, something like that. The referee wanted to hear more, and the doctor did not want the fight to continue. So, thankfully, we got it done there. We didn't need a 5th round, and we didn't need the fight to go the distance and Rozenstruik to win a decision, because my bet wouldn't have hit. I played at Rozenstruik knockout only, and it was $262, the same price as his money line. That was the biggest mistake I've ever made. But thankfully, we got the TKO done there at the end of the 4th round. And the only pick that I had wrong was in a close decision, Javid Basharat, where everybody predicted him to win. You know, that's a tough loss to have. He's going to learn from it. And obviously, like I said, on the prediction show last week, he needs to work on his striking. And I definitely didn't have him in parlays. I didn't have him as a lock of the week play, anything like that. I didn't put any money on Javid Basharat other than the over-under, over 1.5 and over 2.5. That was a breeze. But yeah, not a good look there for Javid Basharat, and his striking still needs some serious improvements. And the only other thing I want to talk about is the forecast of the week. Unsuccessful this week. Frank Bush, took his best shot, and I was very confident in the prop as well. So there's no harm in having a loss as long as we can learn from it. And Frank Bush, you might see him as forecast of the week again, looking for some revenge here, because I'm not seeing many comments below for forecast of the week. So all what you got to do is comment your most confident prop at plus money. And I'm going to ride with my favorite one. And last week was Petrino by KO. Unfortunately, it didn't hit, but we're going to go back and find another comment this week. Hopefully I see lots of views this week, and you guys are going to comment your most confident prop at plus money. You can do it in a couple days, but on Thursday night, I will choose my favorite one. So it's time to fire it up, forecasters. We're going to bake the bookies. And we have 14 fights here, and we're going to start off with the prelim opener, as we always do. We got a women's fight in the flyweight division between Joanne Wood and Maryna Moroz. And I'm not looking to bet this one, honestly. I know Moroz is probably going to win this fight. She is coming off 2 losses, so this is a motivation spot for her. She won a decision against a very good Mayra Buena Silva, who just fought for a championship fight, beat her by unanimous decision, and I see this fight kind of going down the same way. Joanne Wood has some good experience inside the UFC. She's tough and durable to an extent, but she got submitted to Alexa Grasso, submitted to Talia Santos, but then she lost a close split decision to Lauren Murphy. And if Lauren Murphy is going to beat you by a split decision and just get her hand raised, I think Maryna Moroz will get her hand raised by a decision as well. But we won't have to sweat about it as much as Lauren Murphy probably had to, because Moroz can get the takedowns and can get the control. Maybe even get a submission. She has a couple submissions on there as well. She submitted Agapova, who's 10-2, a little wild and crazy in there. I expect Joanne Wood to be more calculated. At 38 years old, I don't think JoJo's getting any faster. And her split decision to Luana Carolina isn't overly impressive, so I just have to side with the younger fighter from Ukraine as well. So these fighters from Ukraine are going to fight very hard for their country and represent. And in this fight, she should pace her way to a decision. On all 3 judges' scorecards, I'm going to call it a unanimous decision win for Moroz. And the next fight on the cards, we're going to look at CJ Vergara and Asu Almabaev from Kazakhstan. Now, this prospect here, coming off a submission win to Odie Osborne. I don't know if this is a step down or not. Now, CJ Vergara is tough and durable, and he's also a finisher. But when he had to make the step up in competition, he ended up winning a decision in his last fight to Vinicius Salvador, and before that he won a split decision to Clayton Rodriguez. So is he a finisher or not? Like, probably not. Now that he's in the UFC, he only could finish Daniel Lacerda. So, I mean, everybody can finish Daniel Lacerda. Now, 6 months ago when Asu made his debut, he got the finish by rear naked choke. His grappling is relentless and very dominant. I see him having his way on the ground, and on the feet I think Asu is going to fare out just all right. Probably even hold his own, to be honest. He knocked out a guy that was 10-1. After that, has a unanimous decision to a guy that was 4-0. Split decision to a guy that was 21-10. So he's beat some guys with some experience, beat some low-level guys, and then he submitted a guy that was 3-1, another low-level guy only a year ago. So the level of competition isn't the highest for Asu. But when he came into the UFC and submitted Ode Osbourne, he showed us how much potential he has and how dangerous he is on the ground and on the feet. CJ Vergara on the ground obviously struggles. He got submitted to Tatsuro Terra, who's obviously Tatsuro Terra. He is a very dominant grappler in his own right. So there's nothing really to be ashamed about in that loss to Terra, but just before that, he lost to Ode Osbourne when Ode was 9-4 by unanimous decision. So, I mean, Asu just dominated Ode Osbourne, and he's a 4-1 favorite here. I'm not taking the underdog. And the next forecast comes in at heavyweight here between the newcomer from Cuba, 4-0 Robelis, Despaigne, and Josh Parisian. Now, the 4-0 prospect, he does have a ton of Taekwondo experience, and he is very dangerous. All 4 of his wins come in the first round by KO. And the Cuban's last fight was 2 months ago to an opponent that was 1-0. And before that, it was 5 months ago to a debuter. And before that, it was 8 months ago to another debuter. And a year and 8 months ago, he knocked out another debuter. So, I mean, no credible wins whatsoever for this Cuban, but he looks like he's going to throw a fucking missile. He's 6'7", 87-inch reach. He's going to have an 8-inch reach advantage in this fight. I mean, he should be able to knock out Josh Parisian, who just got submitted to Martin Boudet fairly easily. Josh hasn't really fought anybody good, like win and loss. I've been looking through it here, and it's like this dude literally lost to Martin Boudet and then Jamal Pogues by a decision. His other loss before that was to Don'Tale Mayes, who found the 3rd round KO, and Don'Tale is 8-4. So I'm believing in the Cuban prospect here. First round KO finish. You know, when you see guys coming in with a bunch of early finishes, it's probably because they have a ton of power now. Some of these fights aren't even getting into the 2nd minute mark. Like, they're ending within the 1st minute. Like, he has serious power. The Cuban missile here should knock out Josh Parisian and make him look like parsnip after this first round. Pretty confident in the pick as well. I know he's 35 coming in here. Fought horrible competition. Like I said, 3 debuters and a 1-0 opponent. I know he's a 4-1 favorite, 5-1 favorite, but he should get the first round finish. I'm pretty confident in it. Josh Parisian's only win was to Alan Baudot, 8-3 with ground and pound. And before that, a guy that was 15-7 by split decision. For heavyweight, Parisian is parsnip, like I said, shouldn't win this fight. Especially not with a 8-inch reach disadvantage. He's probably going to get sniped and picked apart against this Cuban prospect. I can't wait to see this guy fight. Robelis Despaigne is going to be a beast in this division until he has to move up the ranks and actually fight a real heavyweight that's not parsnip. And next up, we got Philipe Lins and Ion Cutelaba. And in this fight here, I have a pretty confident lean that the guy that's 8 years younger, Ion Cutelaba, is going to come in here dangerous, quick and fast, finding himself a finish. Now, Philipe Lins coming on to the end of his career, and I don't know if these odds are right. No, they're definitely not right. There's no odds for this fight, actually, so I'm seeing 3-1 for Philipe Lins. Like, $3 underdog for Cutelaba would be insane. Underdog price for Cutelaba would be insane. I see him coming in as the favorite and getting it done probably early first round finish. Just like he knocked out Tanner Boser. I was going Tanner Boser in that fight, and then Cutelaba came in and looked incredible. He's a lot more calm and composed when he's fighting, but he's still aggressive, and he's a very good striker. Philipe Lins, at 38 years old, is slowing down. You know, when these fighters get over the age of 35, most of them, it's fairly hard to trust, and we're learning that the hard way with some of them, but most of the time we're going to be smart to it, catch on, and pick the right side. In this fight, we have to. The guy 8 years younger, like I said, is going to be so much quicker. Philipe Lins, in his unanimous decision win to Maxime Grishin, just got it done, and it was a boring-ass fight now. Cutelaba's not going to make it boring, and the Hulk can throw punches in bunches. Now, it's going to be tough to get out of the way of all of them. I don't think Philipe Lins will be able to avoid every single shot coming his way. So if it's not in the first round, it's going to come in the second. And he's probably hungry to get back-to-back wins after losing 3 fights in a row before his last fight there. And when you look at the side of Philipe Lins, he's pretty comfortable. He won his last 3 fights. Maxime Grishin, he knocked out Ovin St. Preux's old ass a year ago, and then beat Marcin Prachnio by a decision. So a decision dominator is what I would call Philipe Lins. And in my opinion, if he's going to win this fight, it's going to be by a decision. He's going to have to play it safe and sound. But unfortunately, he's going to have a hound coming his way. Ion Cutelaba by finish. And next up, we're going to take a look at Michel Pereira and Michal Oleksiejczuk. This is going to be a really good fight. And the two styles are going to clash here. Both strikers. But Pereira has more of a ground game. Couple submissions on his record. I don't see him getting a submission here because he's a decision dominator. That's how he's winning most of his fights. He did win his last fight against a guy that's a grappler who has no striking. Let's remember that. So I was thinking, can we give Pereira a lot of credit for that win? I don't think so, right? You look at the side of Petrosky, that's just because of Petrosky's lack of striking. We know the gym down there at Renzo Gracie Philly doesn't have the best striking. So that just proved a point there. We can't take too much off that first round knockout finish for Pereira, but we know he's very dangerous on the feet. He's very creative. He can mix it up. And that's why he's winning a lot of these fights by unanimous decision. When I look at the side of Oleksiejczuk, that win against Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani in the first round, is a little overvalued in my opinion now. Some people might overcredit Oleksiejczuk in this spot. It's priced pretty close, and I have to say I'm positive Pereira finds a way to get his hand raised here. He's very durable. He can definitely take a shot. Michal Oleksiejczuk can take a shot too, so I don't think he's going to get finished, but I think he might get outstriked and taken down, maybe controlled here, and lose a decision. Dustin Jacoby beat him by a unanimous decision, and he's also been submitted 4 times. I want to find a way to bet Pereira by submission, but I just don't see a path to victory for him there. He hasn't had a submission since 2020 against an opponent that is submittable. Now, you've seen a decision win against Chaos Williams, a decision win against Nico Price, and a decision win against Andre Fiallo. There's and a split decision to Santiago Ponzinibbio, so there's really no reason to think he's going to sink a rear naked choke or an arm triangle or, anything crazy like that. He's likely just going to win this by a decision. These boys are going to strike it out, and I'm positive Pereira will be the better striker, getting the better shots, landing more accurately, and possibly mixing in some takedowns. Like I said, he can get some control of time and stuff like that, but for the most part, he's going to be so creative on the feet that it's going to be hard to hit him. Pereira for the win. Let's go. And next up, before we keep going with the prelims, smash that like button, suplex the subscribe button, and holy shit, Muhammad Mokaev showed us how to do a suplex. So everybody do that to the suplex button. Once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to give away $100 to 3 different forecasters in a giveaway bot in my Discord. Hit the link in the bio below. We're going to keep rolling along with these prelims here. We got Pedro Munhoz and Kyler Phillips. And these bantamweights are going to probably pace their way to a decision. These two decision dominators are very durable. And they don't have the most power. But they're competitive, very composed. It's going to be a good fight. Kind of a tough one to cap because you see Pedro at such a big underdog price. It kind of makes you want to take a stab at it. But then you see he's 37 years old and he's too old and too slow. And Kyler Phillips is going to do what he did to Raoni Barcelos. And he's going to show that these youngsters are going to be too hungry and have too much cardio grinding it out. At 37 years old, Pedro lost a decision to Marlon Vera. And after that, it's all downhill from here, baby. Ride Kyler Phillips by a decision. With that 7-inch reach advantage, being 9 years younger, coming off a win, having motivation. It just has to be a Kyler Phillips spot. It definitely has to be for me. And if you want to take the underdog, Pedro Munhoz, he was looking decent against Sean O'Malley. I don't blame you. But play it by a decision. Play it over 1.5. Even play it over 2.5 because I think this fight will go the distance. and the judges are going to have to decide who wins it. And next up, we got Mateusz Gamrot and Rafael dos Anjos, and we got a number of ranked fighters on this card, so we're in store for really a great card. This is when it gets real exciting because what's at stake for these fighters and the implications that are on the line, you know? You got ranked fighters against prospects trying to take their ranks, and a win will get some of these fighters very close to their ultimate goal of being UFC champion or a chance to fight for a UFC championship. And, you know, in this fight here, Mateusz Gamrot, he's pretty close, 23-2, and he's going to fight a former champion, dos Anjos, who is on the downfall. This is another fighter that's on the downfall, unfortunately, at 39 years old, and fighters over 35 years old are going to be on the downfall. And that will be the theme on this card. I'm not afraid to go against these old fellas, you know what I mean? Like, they're a little bit slow, and they're hard to trust. Volkanovski, after locking him in, I'm never going to lock in another guy over 35 years old again. Statistically, it's not working out, and it's never going to work out because they're over the age of 35. Like, they have had too much damage, and they're getting slow. And when they're training, they're not putting in as hard of work when they were my age, and 23, 25, 29, 30, you know what I mean? When you get over 35, you know, things will come up with your health, rather if it's mentally or physically, like things come up with your family as well. So at this point, it makes a prediction like this quite easy. Gamrot should dominate dos Anjos here by a decision. Dos Anjos is so experienced and so durable, I don't see him getting finished. Gamrot doesn't have the heaviest punches, but he has dominant grappling. He can get takedowns. He can defend takedowns all around. He is a phenomenal fighter, and I don't see him losing to dos Anjos, that's for sure. Gamrot's going to fight technically in this fight, getting himself to win. He's not going to risk anything crazy. Hard to say what would happen in that fight if Fiziev didn't injure his knee, but he snuck away with the win, and I don't know if he's going to have to sneak away with a win here. It should be fairly easy in my opinion. He also beat Arman Tsarukyan. That was a very good win. Like, he actually earned that fight. But the loss to Beneil Dariush, not the best. Unanimous decision loss there. But 39 years old is just a little bit too old for me to go against Gamrot. A guy that's only ever had 2 losses and has 23 wins as well. So he has a lot of experience getting his hand raised here. And he should experience another win. No doubt about that. 94% of people on Topology think Gamrot's going to win this fight. And 88% of that 94% believe in the decision for the decision dominator, Mateusz Gamrot. And next up, we got another women's flyweight fight between Katlyn Chookagian and Maycee Barber. And these two girls are going to fight for their right in this fight, that's for sure, because Katlyn Chookagian, former champ, coming off a loss, going to be very hungry. Barber is looking phenomenal right now in the UFC, coming off a win to Amanda Ribas, where she showed us she has very aggressive striking and vicious elbows. I mean, she finished Ribas and made her look bloody as hell. And hopefully Chookagian comes out a little cleaner in this fight, because I want to bet Maycee Barber by a decision in this fight. With the experience Chookagian holds, I think it's going to be a little bit tough to beat her. Chookagian's 5'9" with a 3-inch reach advantage, so it's not the easiest test for Maycee Barber, but it's one that I think she can get done being 10 years younger. She's lacking a little bit of experience, but she's getting the wins right now, and I'm quite impressed. I think Chookagian could even get knocked out in this fight if you're leaning on someone who has the most finishing potential. Like, sometimes I like to pick the fighter in a close fight that has the most finishing potential just in case a finish ever happens. Like, the finisher likely will win the fight, right? So Maycee Barber getting the finishes lately could get another. Katlyn Chookagian, being 10 years older, is slowing down. Another fighter on this card that could soon be looking at retirement. Now, I'm not here to decide when these fighters are going to hang them up, but I can tell when it's coming on to the end of their careers, and I'm going to bet the other way, that's for sure. You know, you see a situation where Robbie Lawler gets a win right before he retires, but you kind of have that feeling right before he comes out that he's going to get that big knockout. It's a winnable matchup, but in this fight, it just seems like the UFC matchmakers are lining a girl like Maycee Barber up for a win here, but it's not going to be an easy one. Like I said, I'd bet it by a decision, and if you're not confident in the pick, just go over 1.5 and over 2.5. That's my best advice, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm not confident in who's going to win, I just play it over 1.5, over 2.5, and I get paid every day of the week. And in these women's fights, I can't come here and give you a high confidence pick on who's going to win. Every single time when I do these women's fights, it's usually a medium confidence or a low confidence pick. And it's nothing against women's MMA. There's tons of value in it, but sometimes they don't always show up, or some fighters are overpriced or underpriced. So very hard to predict some of these women's fights. But in this one, I will side with the favorite, the girl that is 10 years younger. Either if it's a knockout finish somehow, against an experienced Katlyn Chookagian or just a dominant win by a decision. Could even be a close split decision as well. I'm ever so slightly going to lean with the favorite here, the girl 10 years younger that won her last 5 fights and hasn't lost since 2021 to the current champ, Oleksiejczuk. So going with Maycee Barber with medium confidence. But like I said, Katlyn Chookagian has experience. She could win a split. So over 1.5, over 2.5, probably be a safe bet, safe parlay piece. And next up, we're going to heat up with the prelim headliner between Curtis Razor Blaydes and Jailton Almeida. And Almeida is 6-0 in the UFC, has never suffered a loss inside of the UFC, and has never lost since 2018. So he has tons of momentum, and Curtis Razor Blaydes is going to look to cut it in half. Jailton Almeida against Derek Blaydes, he had... In the Derek Lewis fight, Jailton Almeida had a takedown at the start of every round, which led to just control time. Not any success with the submissions. He was attacking them, but Derek Lewis was able to get out of them. And Curtis Blaydes being the best wrestler in the division, I don't think it's going to be that easy to take him down, to be honest. Like, I had to think about this one for a while, because originally I was on Jailton Almeida. I was pretty confident in him as well. He's a beast. I have his numbered card here at a 49, his Rising Suns card, but me pulling a card ain't going to help him out here, because Curtis Blaydes fucking can bang, man. Like, he can throw down and he hits heavy. His last official win, he ground and pounded right through Kyle Dawkins. And before that, he won a unanimous decision to Jairzinho Rosenstruck. And his loss to Sergey Pavlovich, I rewatched that one. He was trading with Pavlovich at the start of that fight. He was wearing a lot of good shots, and then eventually, at the end of that first round, kind of gave up on himself, was getting hit way too much. And yeah, it wasn't the most devastating first round knockout loss, so it's not one that it's like, oh, his chin's shit, it's glass, you know, he's going to get knocked out easy, anything like that. And even when you look at the side of Jailton Almeida, you can't sit here and tell me he's a good striker, because that's bullshit. He can't even do anything when he's sitting on top of you. He doesn't even throw ground and pound. He's not active enough. He doesn't throw enough volume. Curtis Blaydes, I don't know how he is defensively wrestling. Probably good enough to stop the takedowns of Jailton Almeida, who doesn't really have the best takedowns. They're pretty telegraphed. You can see them coming, and you can probably catch him with an uppercut or a flying knee, something like that. Curtis Blaydes is not the guy you want fucking landing a big shot. Like, look at the size of him. When these two face off, I'd like to see when they face off, because Jailton Almeida started off as a middleweight, light heavyweight, so he's not the biggest frame for heavyweight, and this is going to be his biggest test to date, and his Derek Lewis test did not impress me. It's not enough to make me bet him in this fight. I don't think his finishing potential is going to be there. I think Curtis Blaydes, coming off that loss, should be hungry. He was talking like he wanted to get into a title contention shot. This could be it. He's fighting a very good prospect. It's a coin flip, so I'm not the only one thinking that Curtis Blaydes is going to slice him in half here now. I see a first round or second round knockout for Curtis Blaydes, but like I said originally, I was on Jailton Almeida. He's looked dominant. He's 6-0 in the UFC. If he gets it to the ground, he's going to look for the submissions, and he can sink it, that's for sure. So we're going to see what happens when these two heavyweights throw down. I'm going to side with Curtis Blaydes with low confidence for the pick. But I'm staying away on bets. This one is way too tough for me to predict, and I don't have a strong read on it whatsoever. On to the next fight. We're getting into the main card, and you're going to smash that like button and suplex the subscribe button before we get going. And the next forecast is Petr Yan and Song Yadong, bantamweight division here. And Petr Yan's coming off a unanimous decision loss to Merab Dvalishvili, where he got taken down multiple times. Yadong Song ain't going to do that, and probably doesn't have the cardio to do that either. On the feet, Petr Yan should have the more accurate striking, more volume, winning this by a decision. But the judges don't love him. And Song Yadong, he's a prospect on the rise. They want to build up the market in China, this and that. And anything can happen when it goes to the judges. So I'm going to pick Petr Yan to win here. It's a great price, 172 as well. So if he does get the finish, we're going to get paid on the money line. I'm going to look to play him with maybe a couple other fighters that I'm confident in. But if it goes the distance, anything can happen. I'm just hoping he does not get screwed. Can Petr Yan please just have a fair scorecard like he did against Corey Sandhagen? Get the win by a decision would be my play in a 15-minute fight against the young, hungry Yadong Song. Yan should be able to establish his own takedowns in this fight, getting some controlled time, making it look fairly dominant, and giving the judges no reason to side with Yadong Song. And I'm going to be praying that Petr Yan can, without a doubt, prove to us that he won this fight because he could be a lock of the week play for me, especially at this price, especially being the former champion of the division. I still have high hopes for Petr Yan. I think he could even get that loss back against Sean O'Malley. If he comes out here looking for a finish, hungry as hell, he's going to be super dangerous. I'm not going against him. And like I said, he could be a lock of the week. So join Discord, join Patreon. The links are in the bio below. And I'm going to look to do a Thursday show with the props and parlays this week. I'm not going to do a Friday show anymore. I'm going to change the final show time to Thursday. We're going to do a props and parlays show. So I'm going to do the lock of the week, the dog of the week, the props of the week, the parlay parfait. And on Fridays, I might decide to give my reaction to the face-offs, but don't really have the time for it on Fridays as I'm trying to get my bets out there earlier and get the next week started. It's just a one-man show here for me at the Fight Fiend Forecast. I have the odd co-host with Dreadstocks and Fatal, but they're not doing any of the content or anything like that with me. They just kind of hop on, and they're kind of like my sidekick. They don't do any research, anything like that. They just kind of hop on, give their picks, stuff like that. Loaf, never going to see Loaf again. I mentioned to the Discorders that we might see him back. He wanted to come back. I also did mention a few shows ago that the former co-host Loaf could make a return, and he wanted to make a return. I was talking with someone in the comments, but the chances of Loaf returning to the show now are probably about as high as Yadong Song winning this fight. So let's go on to the next one.
Cocaine isn't cheap. It's expensive.
We got Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena, and the forecasting ain't stopping here. I see an underdog that potentially could come through. Is it enough to bet it? Is it enough to even pick it and give it to you guys as my final pick? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm so back and forth on this one. I will be honest, though, and let you know how I'm feeling on these fights and what I think's going to happen. And Gilbert Burns, although he's coming off a loss to, what's his name, Belal Muhammad there, I think he bounces back. And I think he's fired up here in this spot against Jack Della Maddalena, a prospect looking to take his number. Because Jack Della Maddalena, although he is good on the feet, he's accurate, he walks you down, he has a good chin, he gets taken down. He got taken down to Basil Hafez there a couple times and got controlled. He got taken down and controlled on his Dana White Contender Series fight. I've seen plenty of times where this guy, Jack Della Maddalena, has been taken down and controlled. And if he's going to get taken down to Gilbert Burns, I have to pick submission for my prop in this fight. Like, Gilbert Burns, when he gets the fight to the ground, he's going to be dangerous. And in a hungry motivation spot for him, looking to revenge his last loss where he got hurt. I think he's coming out hungry. I think he's coming out looking for the finish and prove that at 37 years old, he's still game. I know that was the theme. Over 35 years old, these fighters are going to lose. Every single fighter over 35. I am picking to lose. Except for Gilbert Burns. Because Gilbert Burns, he has a young body. He takes care of his body. He's very well trained, and he's at a great gym as well. And mentally, I think he knows how to beat Jack Della Maddalena. Listening to an interview, he has a game plan to get this job done at this price tag. I'm going to ride with Gilbert Burns until the wheels fall off. And the wheels did not fall off against Belal Muhammad. He got hurt in the first round. So I'd like to see that fight ran back. I think Gilbert Burns gets the best of Belal Muhammad. Like, I don't even know who Belal Muhammad is. I'm pretty sure he's getting a title shot next at UFC 300, but like, I don't even really believe in that. That's insane. Belal Muhammad, remember the name because he could be a UFC champion someday. With a calculated, sharp mindset, I determined that Gilbert Burns is going to win this fight. I looked into it deep. Like, you can't just scratch the surface or peel the blind back and just kind of look in quick. Like, you really got to smash that wall down and break the barrier and figure out how the fuck these boys are going to win this fight, because it's not easy to predict some of these fights. And as my job to give you a confident pick each and every fight, it's not doable. I'm not going to give you a winning pick each and every fight or a winning method of victory, but I can give you my leans and my predictions. So this is a forecast, and these are my picks. So hopefully you guys love my picks. Hopefully you guys are commenting below each and every week, liking the videos, because I honestly put a ton of work into these fights regardless. If we go 50% on the picks, or if we only have one pick wrong like last week, I'm doing my work each and every week. I'm making the custom content each and every week. We're going to try to break it down and forecast it the best that we can, but if we're wrong, it's just a lesson and we're going to learn from it, and it's going to turn into a blessing. So let's keep it hot with Gilbert Burns and grab that plus money while we can. And next up, we're going to take a look at a welterweight fight with a debuting MVP Michael Venom Page fighting trailblazer Kevin Holland, who, is very hard to get a read on in his UFC career here. He's getting his finishes, but he's also losing fights. And I don't know if he wants to retire or if he wants to keep this like a serious thing now. He's a gatekeeper for the division for the most part, and Michael Venom Page just fought Mike Perry in bare knuckle fighting, and he got his ass fucking dropped in the first round. If that was MMA against Kevin Holland, Holland would have finished him right then and there in the first round. So I'm going to have to go with Kevin Holland for a first round finish, maybe a club and sub here. He has a black belt as well. Michael Venom Page is another Taekwondo style that keeps his hands down low, bobbing in and out, keeping his range, but his hands are so low like Bobby Green when he's fighting that Kevin Holland's going to pick a nice shot, 1-2 down the middle with a soda, and knock his ass out probably early. On Kevin Holland's Instagram, he was also sharing some stuff that I was looking at that gave me confidence in this pick. So I dig deep in these fights, and I figure out who the hell is going to win. And looking at tape on Michael Venom Page against Mike Perry, man, this dude, his style's fun to watch. He's creative. It's going to be a payday, but to make a go at it in the welterweight division, be a potential champion or top 5, top 10, I don't see it. Maybe he's tough enough to survive this fight. He has a great record, 21-2. Those 2 losses are arguable as well. He lost a majority decision to Logan Storley. That was a questionable one too, where a lot of people thought he won that fight. And then his other loss, he revenged it to DeLima there as well. So, he has a lot of experience. He has a lot of wins. I just think at 36 years old, he has holes in his game. On the feet, there's a lot of holes. And I also wouldn't be shocked if Kevin Holland decides to wrestle. He's a very good wrestler. He could get a submission, but from what I've seen, Michael Venom Page can keep it on the feet. And it would be, honestly, a lot easier just to knock this guy out with his hands so low. Like, just a 1-2 down the middle, throw more than one punch, and storm him. Should be pretty easy. As long as Kevin Holland goes in there with a good mindset, not wanting just to stand there, go strike for strike with Michael Venom Page, risking getting knocked out, or just keep it on the feet the whole time like you did against Wonder Boy. Like, play it smart, wrestle when you need to wrestle. Maybe use your black belt when there's opportunities on the ground when you're wrestling. But on the feet as well, just pick your shots wisely, and you should be able to find a knockout punch against Michael Venom Page in a fight that's going to have a lot of eyes and is priced very close. So the winner of this fight probably gets fight of the night and gets a bonus. So a lot of money to be made for Kevin Holland, who is not shy to get a bonus. And he's familiar with them as well. So I got to go with the UFC prodigy, Kevin Holland, against the Bellator prodigy, Michael Venom Page. And next up, we got the co-main event, Dustin Poirier and Benoit Saint-Denis, the God of War. And the God of War, man, if you guys have been listening to my forecasts, this is one fighter that I can't go against until the wheels fall off. And I know the chair that I'm sitting in looks like the wheels are about to fall off potentially, but I can guarantee you Benoit Saint-Denis, his tires are inflated. They aren't falling off. They're screwed on tight. And Poirier coming off that knockout loss by head kick. Going to be hard to trust his chin, to be honest with you. When you get knocked out that bad, that viciously, you don't want to get hit too much against a heavy hitter that's aggressive like Benoit Saint-Denis, who's coming off a knockout win himself to Matt Frivola. I think Saint-Denis is going to be more aggressive, working his way to a knockout finish in this fight. He can also get takedowns, and he's aggressive as well when he's getting those takedowns. He's super relentless, and he has a good accuracy when he's getting them. Dustin Poirier is a black belt on the ground, so to be honest, I don't see the fight going there. I think it would be dumb for Benoit Saint-Denis to try to get this fight to the ground. I think he is going to keep it standing. He's going to push forward. He's going to be super aggressive, and he's going to strike Dustin Poirier's lights out. So that's my forecast. I have a soft spot for Dustin Poirier, the Diamond. He's one of my favorite fighters. On my last UFC card video, I pulled 2 Dustin Poirier numbered cards. I pulled his auto card, but, just because I'm pulling, these fighters' cards does not mean that's a sign that they're going to win. Maybe it is. Maybe it is, but I don't believe in it. I'm not going to believe in it. I've done my research. Saint-Denis is going to be way too aggressive, too relentless, and he will find a way to win in this fight. His nickname is the God of War. He is very well equipped. He's been through so much in his life. He is very durable. I don't think a baseball bat could knock this guy out. Dustin Poirier, like I said, it's not going to take too much to knock him out. He isn't as durable as he used to be, and I know pressure creates diamonds, but unfortunately this diamond under pressure might break. That is the forecast. Benoit Saint Denis by knockout. And for the round outcome, I'll give it to you. I'm thinking it's going to be in the second round. The same round that Justin Gaethje knocked out Dustin Poirier in, and the same round that Benoit Saint Denis knocked out Thiago Moises in. So I think it's going to be a round 2 knockout for Benoit Saint Denis, the God of War. And next up, get the sugar-filled caramel cakes out because we got Chookagian O'Malley and Marlon Vera. And woo-wee, this one's going to be filled with excitement because Sean O'Malley lost to Marlon Vera. He rolled his ankle in that fight. He was striking with finesse and accuracy, but Marlon Vera is very durable. And I don't see him walking into a shot like Aljamain Sterling did. The difference in this fight is Marlon Vera has a very good striking defense, but a low striking output. What's going to lose Marlon Vera this fight is his low striking output, his inaccuracy, and his inability to get the fight to the ground. Sean O'Malley will pick him apart at range. He will be more accurate, and he's going to win this fight. I don't see a finish. I don't see a knockout finish for Sean O'Malley. Remember now, Sean O'Malley has a couple third-round finishes to two guys that aren't even in the UFC anymore. He was en route to win a decision to Pedro Munhoz. He should have lost a decision to Petr Yan. And his first 2 fights in the UFC, he won a decision unanimously. His first ever championship defense, I think it's going to be a unanimous decision win, just like Israel Adesanya used to. Like, Israel Adesanya is the same kind of rangy striker that can keep the fight standing. And when he was dominant, in his prime winning, he was winning a lot of decisions. Now, a lot of people might see a Betway boost or a Bet365 boost for a knockout for Sean O'Malley. I'm going to take my chances and go the decision route for Sean O'Malley, having more volume and being more accurate, winning it over 25 minutes, proving he has a great cardio, and he's going to revenge this win being safe and calculated. First ever championship defense should be a win for Sean O'Malley, and he is going to end the streak of the underdogs winning in the main event the last 4 cards. It's not going to be 5 in a row. I'm not here to tell you Marlon Vera is going to win. It is not going to be 5 underdogs in a row in the main event. Sean O'Malley, the Sugar Show, is the guy to snap the streak and bring the ginger snaps home to everybody. Like I said, I don't see Marlon Vera walking into a shot like Aljamain Sterling did. On the feet, Marlon Vera is way more durable, and he's a lot more calculated too. Like, Aljamain Sterling is a grappler. He likes to fight on the ground, where Marlon Vera does rather his fight standing, striking, where he tries to find a knockout shot. But even 25 minutes probably won't be enough time to beat Chookagian O'Malley because he's way too quick, way too sharp and accurate for a guy like Marlon Vera. I cannot see Marlon Vera being champion, but he already has a win against Chookagian O'Malley. Maybe he was that much better. We're going to find out. I'm going to ride with Chookagian O'Malley. 100% confidence he wins this fight. Potential lock of the week as well. And I know I went against Sean O'Malley last time with Aljamain Sterling, but I have only been improving since that pay-per-view. I'm only getting better, only getting sharper, just like Sean O'Malley himself. So let's go get that Sugar Forecasters. Let's get paid, and make sure to join Discord and Patreon to get early access to all my bets, early access to the platinum picks with the confidence levels, all the round outcomes, all the props are going to be there early, the locks of the week, the dog of the week, the forecast of the week. And on Discord, we have an active forecast lobby with active forecasters each and every fight week giving their picks and plays. So join that. Become a part of a great growing community. We want to see you guys become fight fiends and forecasters today. Hit the link in the bio below. And for $5 a month for the platinum picks, all the bets, the line movement tracker, it's probably worth the $5. Let's be honest. I only had 3 picks wrong on the last 2 cards. Momentum is rolling. We got a stacked card in front of us. I'm going to be back on Thursday for the props and parlay show. So you guys are going to get more free access to my plays and parlays. If you can't go a day without chips and pop to afford my $5 a month Patreon, and if you can't find the energy to join Discord for absolutely free, please at least smash the like button and suplex the subscribe button on your way out. Let your friends know that the Fight Fiend forecast has momentum, and we only forecasted 3 fights wrong on the last 2 events. The forecast is going to stay hot in Miami, and if you want to be featured as forecast of the week this week, comment your most confident prop at plus money on this video, and I will pick one forecaster's comment Thursday night, and I'll make content for you. I'm going to make a post up for you on my Instagram, my Twitter, and you'll get shouted out on the next Props and Parlay show. So don't forget, comment below right now. Most confident prop at plus money. Let's keep it hot, forecasters.